What's shaking, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay, and today we're going to talk about the best books I read in 2022. I'm going to go ahead and talk about these books. I do have a very firm top 3, which I will save for last, but the rest are kind of not in any particular order, so we're just going to go ahead and start. The first book that I want to talk about is The Darkness Outside Us. So I really enjoyed this book by Eliot Schaefer. This is a sci-fi queer romance kind of situation, but it has a lot of great elements to the story. It follows our main character who has won this battle. He is the highest ranked person that is voted to go on a ship on what's supposed to be a solo mission to go and save his sister, who also went on a mission, and they think that she may be in trouble or have died. So he's gone off in search for her on a solo mission. He wakes up in the spaceship and realizes he's not alone like he was supposed to be, and he's trying to figure out what is going on. And I really enjoyed my time reading this book, and upon reflection on it, I did raise it to a 5-star after I originally gave it a 4-star. I didn't really connect with the way that it ended, but I overall just really loved that book. Another one is a book that wrapped up one of my favorite trilogies, and that is going to be The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. This is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. It follows Jen and lore and wars and great characters. And if you like that, if any of that sounds very interesting to you, there's of course romance in the story as well, I would pick that trilogy up, and that's going to start with The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Another book that really blew me away and it makes me want to explore more sci-fi horror thriller novels is going to be Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. I originally gave this book 4 stars, but upon reflection, it's just stuck with me. I really overall enjoyed my time reading it, and I decided to go back and give it 5 stars. This follows our main character and kind of in now and looking back into the future, trying to see what happened to her and how she got to where she is now. She is leading an expedition, and her crew finds a luxury ship that has been gone missing for a very long time, and they go on said ship to explore what may have happened to the passengers, and I really enjoyed my time reading it. Another book that just absolutely blew me away is going to be Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. I love this cover, first off, and you may have heard of the Netflix show Firefly Lane. I have not watched the show. I heard that it is very different from the book, but I fell in love with the book. I loved our 2 main characters who we're following as they are children and growing up, and just kind of the complexities that go with their lives, and Kristin Hannah does character work very well, and I enjoyed this a whole heck of a lot, and I cannot wait to read more from Kristin Hannah. Of course, another book that blew my socks off this year and just was a right good old time is Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. I read both books 1 and 2 this year, and this was my favorite, and it follows an author, and she's struggling. She's going through a divorce, recently divorced. She has kids. She can't get her life together, trying to get her life together, and she meets with her agent in a Panera Bread, and they're talking about a plot of her book, and the person that is sitting at the table next to her thinks that she is talking about killing people and that she's an assassin. So she tries to hire Finlay as an assassin, and it's very comical. It was my kind of humor, and there is a mystery element to it. A thriller that I quite enjoyed this year was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I really ate this book up. I love the character work. We're following our main character in the present, and she is going to a college reunion. And in college, one of their friends in their friend group has died, and so we're kind of doing dual timelines between now and past, and we're trying to figure out what actually did happen to her friend back in college. Different angle, possibly because my battery died. But of course, we could not talk about favorites of 2022 without talking about Emily Henry and Book Lovers. I absolutely adored this book. Me and Emily Henry get along sometimes. I really loved Book Lovers. I loved People We Meet on Vacation. I not so much loved Beach Read. I really like the romance. I like the fact that in her books she has harder hitting topics, and this book follows 2 main characters that are kind of in the reading world. They're not really enemies, but they're just not friends, and they don't really get along that well. But she goes back on a trip for a book kind of thing, and she runs into him, and it goes from there. And I thought it was really cute, really sweet, and highly recommend book lovers. Now it's time to get into my top 3, and these are in no particular order. I loved all 3 of these the exact same. These would all be my favorite books of the year if I could choose, because I can't choose just one. So the first one is going to be Engines of Empire by R.S. Ford. I loved this. The sequel's coming out this year. I cannot wait. This follows basically very political heavy fantasy where we're following a whole family, the mother and her kids, and we're getting all of their POVs. They all break up, and it's about conquering an empire, rebellion. Just, if any of that sounds interesting to you, there's also a kind of magical component to this. I highly recommend this book if you like political fantasy. Then another romance that's on my list is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is my favorite Abby Jimenez book. She has cemented herself as one of my favorite authors of all time. And this, of course, follows a big town girl, small town guy. She is, everybody, her family thinks she's too good for him. They fall in love. That's what this is about. Loved it, loved her character work, loved the storyline, loved everything about this book. And then, of course, you have heard me talk about this book probably ad nauseum on this channel, and that is going to be The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. I cannot wait for The Shadow Casket, guys. It's coming out in February, the sequel to The Ember Blade. Cannot wait. Highly recommend you read this before that comes out so that you can get on the hype train. This book has a lot of classic fantasy elements in it. We're following our main character, and him and his friend get into a little bit of trouble. Where they live has been conquered, and not that they're slaves, they get to go about their lives, but it's just a different kind of life than they used to lead. And something happens one day that gets them thrown into a coal mine jail, and then they have to escape. And they come across some very interesting characters that help them escape, and it's a great found family. There's a heist. There's everything you could ever want in this book. I cannot wait for the sequel to come out in February. Alright, that's it. I had a great time in 2022, a mid kind of reading year, but hoping to have an even better time in 2023, hoping to read a lot more 5-star reads. Yes! Let me know if you read any of these books. Let me know what your favorite books of 2022 were. I hope you guys are doing very well, and I will catch you guys later.